Since the beginning, you've had bad habits. David, stop picking your nose. That might have been one that my mum would have said to me when I was 3 years old or something like that. But we've always had bad habits, right? And it's been very difficult for us to get away from them. When we are in the zone of business development, we really need to have good habits. So I'm going to spring a couple of questions on you. Well, first question is, what sort of great habits do you want? What's a great habit for you to pick up and start rolling with? And how do you bring that great habit into your life? A lot of people go, right, okay, I just need to think this, I just need to think this, and I just need to think this. And I remember back to about 1990, 1992, there was an English athlete, 100-meter runner called Linford Christie, won gold in the Olympics. I think it was the Barcelona Olympics. And he used to do adverts and things like that for Lucozade and talk about PMA, positive mental attitude. And I was walking around the house all the time going, I need to think positively, I need to think positively. And it never worked, right? I was just trying to tell myself, so I need to think positively. And it didn't. I just had to literally walk around and say to myself, need to think positively. And when I stopped thinking about that, I kind of like, it turned off. So whatever good habits that you want in your life, and one of the good habits could be from getting up in the morning and going for a swim, or going for a walk, or writing out your goals for the day, or writing out your goals for the next 3 months and 3 years' time. Whatever good habits that you want, you do need to practice them. But here's a really, really cool thing about good habits, and it's what a lot of people forget about. You already have habits in your life, right? I mean, you wake up in the morning, you live, you're around during the day, and you're doing things. And let's just have a look at what I did this morning, because what I did this morning, this Sunday, I didn't follow a routine, and that's fine. But I got out of bed. I let the cat in, and I knew the cat would be waiting. Got a nice little fluffy basket for him outside. He likes being out all night, and then he curls up in there. So I let him in and got some food out for him. And then my son jumped up. He heard, gave a bit of a love to my son. And my son's 10. He went down and lay down on the settee, the couch, the sofa, whatever you want to call it. Put a blanket over him, and just like he curled up on there because he was still like in that process of waking up. And I sat next to him, and I stroked his head for a bit, and I spoke to him. And then it was like, okay, what clothes am I going to wear? Iron them, get showered, boom, right? That's the standard thing. And then, of course, then you go out through the day, and you do every day is pretty much replicated from the day before. And they say something like 85 to 95% of your thoughts are the same thoughts that you had the day before. So to actually bring in a new habit is really difficult, because you're carrying out these routines. And the routine that I just demonstrated to you this morning, it was autopilot, right? And especially Monday to Friday, that's when you run your business. If you run your business through 5 days a week, you will have routines, and other ones will kick in. I'll give you another routine, right? You drive home at any time of the day. You get out the car, you walk up the path, you get your keys, you open the door. As you open the door, you take your shoes off, right? You take your coat off, you put your bag down wherever you put them. That is a routine. Now, when was the last time you got out the car, you walked up your path and took your shoes off first, and then opened the door? And then have the shoes in your hand, open the door, and put your shoes on the side. When was the last time that you changed that routine? It's actually, you will do it from time to time, but it's unlikely. Okay. So we all have these little micro routines. English people are terrible for it when it comes to making tea. They'll stir it in a certain way that they won't use pre-boiled water. The water that they boiled this morning has to be a new has to be new water that goes in there. And then do they put the water in first, or the tea bag in first, or do they put sugar in? And if so, how much sugar? Do they stir it one way, or do they stir it the other way? Do they take a little sip first or a big gulp first? Do they have a Vickers collar at the top? We all have these little routines, and English people have routines for when they're making their own tea. So when it comes to bringing in good habits, I think the first thing that you need to do is to sit down and have a think about, okay, so what good habits are going to work really well for me? Now, we're looking at two areas here. What's going to work really well for you and what's going to work really well for your business. Now, anything that works for your business is going to work really well for you. And also, if you like thinking about really good stuff to promote you as personal development, then that should also work for your business. Okay, so one should support the other. A bit of fingers crossed there. But you might be thinking, right, for my business, the first thing I want to do every morning is to make sure that I check my emails before the working day starts. That might be a habit, right? That might be a good habit that you want to get into. And then the next thing that you might want to do is, right, okay, I'm going to create a things to do list for the priorities for today. And you might not be very good at doing that at the moment. Okay. So how do we put those two things into place? Checking emails before we start the day, in terms of our official business day, to save some time and to also do the things to do list. Well, to start doing those things, you need to replace you need to remove something because you're already doing something. Whether you're just brushing your teeth or you're sat there watching the television, you are already doing something. So to bring a new habit in, you have to remove an action, and every action is habitual to a certain extent, unless you're trying something very new for the first time and then you let it go, and then you could argue that it's a habit that you try stuff and let stuff go. But anyway, to bring in a new habit, let's refer to it as an action, you have to let an action go. So the first thing I'd like you to do is to make a list of all the good habits and all the good things that you would like to do. And let's just pick out 3. You might think of 10, 15, 20 things, whatever it is, but let's just pick out 3. That would be a pretty cool thing to do, wouldn't it? Now let's look at all the bad habits that you have. Now, you don't need to share them on here if you want to. And what's your bad habit? Comment below. I don't think many of you will be commenting on in terms of the bad habits that you've got, unless you've had a couple of drinks and you have some Dutch courage. But what bad habits do you have? List them down. Okay. So now you've got 2 lists: a list of bad habits or habits that aren't serving you. I mean, they might not be bad habits, but they could be just things that aren't serving you, right? So one of the things that wasn't serving me was cheeky drinks on a Friday afternoon. That wasn't serving me too well, so I'll stop that. So cut out those. So the bad habits that you've got that list here, and you've got this list here of good habits. Well, let's just take one bad habit off the list and replace it with a good habit. So here's the trigger points. You're thinking, oh, my life's going to run like this, and you're about to do something. And that's the thing that you're about to do is a habit or an action that you want to replace. So you go, I'm not going to do that bad habit. I'm not going to do that action or that habit that doesn't serve me. I need to replace it with the new habit that you want to replace it with. Here's the really cool thing. And a lot of people, what we've done is go, oh, right, I need to stop doing these bad habits. Let's say I need to stop smoking, right? And if you stop smoking, you've created that space, right, in your life. You're only going to fill it up with a level of crap if you don't replace that space with something purposeful. This is why sucking mints doesn't work when you're trying to stop smoking, because it's not purposeful, is it? It's not good for you. What you end up doing is you end up smoking again, So just have a look at the things in your life. You can call them bad habits if you want. The things in your life that you don't believe that are serving you, and pair them up with something that you would like to bring into your life positively. A good habit, a good routine. So every time you're about to do that bad habit, go, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to replace it with this instead. and just concentrate on that. Just do that every day, and just start on that one habit. You don't have to go and change 10 habits or 50 habits all in one go. Just change one thing. So, a bad habit of yours could be nipping into the cupboards, right, in the kitchen and eating some really sugary sweets, some sugar candy. What if you replace it by eating kiwis? Now, I love kiwis. I don't know about you, but you know those sugary sweets, like the Haribo sweets, that really sour on the tongue. I love those. I can go through a bag of those, no problem. So, buy some kiwis. I actually did buy some kiwis this morning. I've got 5 kiwis in the house upstairs, ready to go. No, we actually don't have any sugary, sour type Haribo sweets in the house. I wish I did. I love them. But the idea is this. David wants to have some Haribo soury sweets. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to have myself a kiwi. And if I want to go and have 2 kiwis or 3 kiwis, I will. Fine, no problem. Replacing one with another. Because if we say to ourselves, no, I'm not going to have I'm not going to have those that candy, those sweets that I like, and you just miss out, you're going to replace it with something, right? You might even replace it with, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I beating myself up? And then you go into the kitchen cupboards or wherever you keep your sugary, soury type stuff and munch away. So the thing is this, right? For our businesses to grow, we need to have really good habits and really good routines. If you don't have them in place, that's fine. Write them down. Write the stuff down that you want to do. And then just look at all the stuff in your life that doesn't serve you. That's okay. And write it down. Go, oh no, that doesn't serve me. That doesn't serve me. That doesn't serve me. And replace. Nice and easy. You know, you don't need a therapist for this. Don't need a mindset. I was gonna say mindset engineer. That's a pretty cool phrase, isn't it? We don't need a mindset coach or a mindset engineer on this. These are just little things that you can do. And you don't have to say, change 50 actions. Just change one. Take one out and replace it with something cool. And that's what I do. And it makes my life so much more fun. It's so much more purposeful. But here's the really cool thing. I get great results from it. Right. Anyway, so wherever you are in your business right now, Rob and I was my business partner. We tend to work with people who are at least making at least $10,000, $15,000 a month, because then they can start to afford us. We're expensive. And we know that you don't have a problem with marketing. It's a problem with like business development strategy, tactics, and that's where we like to work at, because marketing and sales, it's not easy, it's not difficult. That could be sorted out pretty much I say I can sort any marketing solution out in 7 minutes, and that's marketing solutions for me. Maybe it takes me an hour and a half to sort out your marketing and sales processes. Everything else is strategy, tactics, and habits and accountability, and getting you doing the right things concurrently. Right. So if you want a bit of that, drop me a line. Let's have a chat. Don't expect a sales call from me. We don't need to do sales calls. No, and we don't need. In fact, I'm going to do a little video on that in a minute. Have fun and stream.